There's a
Exactly.
difference. There's a
Exactly.
difference. When you learn how to be transformational in life and make those choices, you're going to have different results. You know, even when we don't know, like you may not have, like you said, you got in this abusive relationship, which I'm very sorry about, and your highest good knows, okay, that wasn't the best decision, but some part of you is like, okay, yeah, but I'm going to do this anyways. But then I'm going to save myself and I'm going to get myself out of it, right? And so we just have to trust ourselves that taking those risks, it may not it may not always work out, but it's going to work out in the end, because if you don't make changes to improve your life, or grow or learn or whatever, you're only just going to stay where you're at, the predictable.
Exactly. And I used the word intentionally only because when you're in things, sometimes you can't identify with yourself. You don't know who you are or how you even got in a situation.
Right.
When you use the word boundaries, sometimes you have to ask yourself, do I have boundaries? Are my boundaries enforceable, or
Mm-hmm.
are my boundaries bendable?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people bend their boundaries. Then that's not a boundary.
Right.
It's okay to,
Situational.
so are my boundaries enforceable? Am I enforcing them, or am I
Mm-hmm.
bending them?
Right.
I was bending them because the year before I was like, I will never be that woman, and I became her. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we are dependent on other people to pull us out of things because we cannot even see it. We can't see it, or we do see it, but we don't accept it.
Right.
That's who we are today. Like, I think that's another, uh,
Sure. We want to be right.
we
We
want to
always
be
want.
right, but we don't want to. The truth is painful when it's you.
Mm-hmm.
It's so painful to look at, even a financial situation. Like, I don't have the money
Mm-hmm.
like that to even call someone. Most people are like, I'm not gonna call anyone when I'm in need. I'll figure it
Mm-hmm.
out. Like, to say like I have a bad relationship with money.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of money on things I don't need, that does not foster the life that I say I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to say that to self is like, no, not you, but that's
Right.
the truth. Or like, I'm in the negative. But we have this defense up in this ego, like, no, I mean, things happen, or this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But as I continued on my journey as a nurse, I became a nurse. I actually failed boards twice. What people don't know.
Really.
I passed them a third time.
Right
And
on.
I failed. I was still working a lot. I was recovering from an injury. I was recovering, not one of two injuries, but I was recovering from the abusive relationship. It was very
Mm-hmm.
like noisy, to where I was like, I need to go to therapy. I need help, because there's no way I can pull myself out of it,
Yeah.
until it got that bad to where I was hospitalized. Then I was like, okay. And
Mm.
then my father stepped in, was like, no, no. Until the person went to well, I guess the difference between jail and prison, until
Mm-hmm.
they was physically removed from me by law enforcement. I
Mm-hmm.
would have died, honestly, because I just could not
Mm.
pull
Yeah.
myself out of it. I just couldn't. I was
Yeah.
going to therapy. It just wasn't working. I would still take
Yeah.
the calls. They would show up. It was just like, okay, until the
Yeah.
person was actually physically removed from me and spent 10 months in jail for what he did to me. Um, I had it had to be completely like a major barrier between the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
My connection with him was so strong, but who I was at the time, I didn't even know who that was.
Mm-hmm.
And I started working in med-surg. I'm sorry, I started working on tele. I came back
Mm-hmm.
to Chicago with my mom. I stayed with her. I had a bad relationship with money, so I was spending money. I was making $30 an hour when I became a nurse. I was like, I got a $9 raise. I got some money.
Right.
Don't even think about taxes. Don't even think about, I got my two kids. I can write them off. It's all good. I got some money.
Right.
Working a lot of shifts. I was still working in a nursing home. Then I ended up going to Holy Cross Hospital in Chicago, working
Mm-hmm.
tele. And then I ended up doing some travel nursing. And then I switched over within a year to ICU, and I became an ICU nurse for 5 years. What was really difficult for me to be a nurse, to be honest, I love what I did. I love some patient interactions. I cannot lie and say I love all, because we all know how that can
Oh
go.
yeah. Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
because how I was raised and where I was raised in the heart of the city,
Mm-hmm.
I was very jaded towards people.
Mm-hmm.
So the bullying affected me maybe the first year, but by the second year, I was just not going for it. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
care who you are.
You mean workplace bullying, like from other
Yes,
nurses or
worse than
managers?
workplace bullying. The first year, because I
Mm,
didn't know anything, and I'm
right.
not a person that feel like I'm gonna, if I don't know, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna say I don't know. I need
Mm-hmm.
help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the bullying was a lot, and it's something that I
Mm,
just I didn't get. Like,
right.
what's going on here? It was so
Yeah.
frustrating because it's not like that working at Fooflex. Like, I'm just stocking
Right.
stuff, and I'm in my own little
The
zone.
phenomenon of
Or it's
bullying in
that was different.
healthcare.
I was like, what the hell is going on here? Why is this
Yeah,
being a jerk? Or why am I
I
getting emails
know.
about dumb stuff? Like, what the hell is going on? So after like the first year, when I definitely moved to the hospital, I was just like, oh, yeah, this is, I thought it was that place. But then as I moved around and did travel nurse, I'm like, this is the culture, this is the environment of the profession. And just talking to other coworkers, becoming friends with them, I was like, okay, this is
Right.
unhealthy for me. And
Right.
I felt like I did everything I could to remove myself when I became an adult from unhealthy and toxic environments to foster a different type in nursing.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew by year 2, I didn't want to be a nurse,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
because I felt like I've been through enough
Right.
dysfunction.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I just knew I don't want to live my life in dysfunction. Like, it has to be a better way. Like, life,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time, social media wasn't really, it was around like MySpace and Facebook, all the other channels, platforms were not around. But
Right.
I was just like, okay, it's people. This cannot be like just normal.
Right. And it wasn't really identified as an issue. And I had to say the same thing happened for me in nursing school. Like I had never really dealt with that level of, you know, bias
Treatment.
and
Like, what is
overtly.
going on?
And I was like, I'm a whole adult. Like, I mean, I became a nurse at 39. I was 37 going into nursing school. So I was like, oh, you, like you got the wrong person here. Like I am not some little kid, like it's not happening over here.
Yeah. So I applied to NP school. The reason why I applied to NP school is because I wanted to have more autonomy. Again, that's like a self thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I chose acute care. I chose acute care, so I'm an acute care nurse practitioner because I have experience in ICU. So I just cared about stay on that path. I love the unit. I love ICU. I really do. That's one of my favorite areas. I am not a psych person.